Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Cameron Kelly Smith and today I'm going to be asking the question, can WWE get ahead of the war with AEW before it even starts? Now the reason why I ask this question is because 2 weeks ago, WWE announced that Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman have been appointed executive directors of both Raw and SmackDown. Heyman for Raw and Bischoff for SmackDown. And this was exciting news, especially for everyone who is disgruntled WWE fans or who have not been very happy with the WWE product in recent memory, because it signified the one thing that we have been asking for ages, and that is change. We want change. We want a more exciting product. We want a more compelling product. We want things to be different. And in the wake of hearing, shoot interviews like John Moxley or even CM Punk for a few years ago, we have also gained insight into what is going on behind the scenes in WWE. And a lot of us feel that central things need to change in order to make the product better. But a lot of us felt that by appointing Bischoff and appointing Heyman, that gave the sign to us that more compelling TV is on the way. Now, of course, a big reason for why this decision was made, has to be because of the fact that AEW is looming. AEW is going to start TV in the fall, and with that threat approaching WWE, we would assume that Bischoff and Heyman being appointed as executive directors was a way to combat that. Now, last week, Heyman was put in charge of Raw for the first time, and we saw some change. It felt like a fresher show. It felt like a better show. Eric Bischoff is reportedly not meant to actually be put in charge of SmackDown until, I think, the first SmackDown after Extreme Rules. So we won't see him until next week. But this week on TV, I think we can all agree that TV took a step back. We took a step forward last week with Paul Heyman being put in charge of Raw. We took a step back this week as TV overall wasn't that good, especially Monday Night Raw. However, this had me thinking, WWE can get ahead of the war with AEW before it even starts. And in my opinion, there is one key thing that they can do in order to do this. And I know it's going to be controversial because it has happened twice before and not worked, but I think it truly is the key. And that is the brand split. Now, before everyone starts to go on about how the brand split doesn't work and the wild card, and we know there's been a lot of things put in place that doesn't work, let me just bring out one key point as to why I think the brand split could be the key for WWE getting ahead of the war with AEW before it even starts. And the big reason as to why I think that is variety. Look, WWE wrestling fans and disgruntled WWE wrestling fans are happy about AEW coming along, not only because it provides an alternative and provides something better maybe, but because it's a way for us disgruntled WWE fans to say to WWE, look, F you, step your game up. That's a big reason why, like whether we want to admit it or not. And that's not to put any shade on AEW and saying that we don't actually care about the product and that we're not actually excited about what's to come, because that's a lie, we are. But a big reason why a lot of us fans go to social media and say F you WWE and say, give a lot of critiques about the product and then hype up other products like New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW is because we want WWE to be better. Like, I'm going to use the analogy of a sports team. If, for example, I support Arsenal and Arsenal aren't doing well, or any sports team you may support, if your sports team is not doing well season after season, year after year, game after game, you still support them. But why? We support them because ultimately we want them to do well. We want them to do better. But in WWE's case, we support them because we remember the good times. We have seen good versions of the product. We've seen fantastic episodes of Raw and SmackDown. And we want that back. And we want that consistently. And so WWE can still capitalize on that and can still get the fan base back and expand on their fan base by simply using the brand split. By having Eric Bischoff taking control of SmackDown and by having Paul Heyman taking control of Raw, what you can do here is create variety. You can create literally two completely distinctive shows. What if, for example, SmackDown was the one that's more sports orientated, as we believe that Fox is going to be looking to do with it come the fall? What if it's more sports orientated? What if it gives more like a realistic feel, like a New Japan? And what if Raw was more entertainment focused, more crazy focused? What I'm saying is that if you give both shows a separate identity and a different feel, and ultimately make the shows as if they are completely two separate shows that just happen to be under the same company, you can create variety. And as a result, you can attract the fan base and cover all aspects because every single fan will hopefully be pleased. It's like in the Attitude Era. Vince Russo always said that when he was... I know Vince Russo is kind of, a controversial figure. But Vince Russo always said that by giving something different in each segment, it covered all fan bases. WWE can do that with both Raw and SmackDown by creating variety. Because ultimately, what wrestling fans want is a more compelling product. I think we can all agree on that. Now, whether the reason why the product isn't compelling is because there's a third hour of Raw, or the writing team, or Vince McMahon, or any particular reason, because there is loads and we know that a lot need to be addressed. But what I am saying is that WWE have a key opportunity here to get ahead of the war with AEW before AEW even hits TNT in the full. Because if they can use Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman and really give them control and give them some power and let them have creative freeway to actually give both shows a separate identity and a more compelling product, you can literally stagger and halt the hype with AEW before they even air on TV, because as a result, it gives disgruntled wrestling fans a chance to go, okay, well, I actually love WWE TV again. So not to say that I don't want to see AEW, but now that the show that I was upset is actually catering to my needs and giving me what I want, I don't know if really I need to then look somewhere else where to try and give me what I want. Now, obviously, we already know that AEW is providing an alternative. But a lot of us are ignoring that AEW will probably have some issues along the way, just like with every new company starting up, particularly a wrestling company. But WWE can take control of that, because if they can truly make their product compelling and give us variety, the keyword variety, by making Raw and SmackDown feel different and be two completely different shows just so happening to be under the same umbrella, they can cover all bases. Because AEW right now is looked at as the babyface promotion. It's looked at as the cool promotion. Why? Because AEW at the moment signifies everything all good and exciting with wrestling and what we ultimately want, whereas WWE is looked at as in a bad light. But if WWE can ultimately make their product more compelling and exciting and cater to what we actually want and what the viewer wants in this day and age of television, and especially by creating variety by making Raw and SmackDown generally feel like two different shows, they can get ahead of that. Because then by the time AEW comes to TNT on the full, you already have the argument of us disgruntled WWE fans saying, okay, it's not like we don't or are not going to check out AEW, but WWE are giving us what we want, so I don't know if I'm really that excited about AEW anymore. And that can ultimately help WWE to get ahead of the war between AEW, because it will reduce some of the excitement going into the AEW product. Don't get me wrong, I'm still excited about AEW and I want to see AEW, but I'm saying that WWE can get ahead of this. Now, ultimately, however, we do know that this comes down to one key factor, and in particular, one key man, and that's Vince McMahon. Because if Vince McMahon decides that he wants to take the product back to how he wants to, or he wants to make particular changes, ultimately, it comes down to him. So it doesn't matter that Bischoff and Heyman are in charge, because ultimately, it comes down to Vince McMahon. But if Vince McMahon can really embrace the idea of giving us variety and finally getting the brand split correct after 2 tries of it not going well, we can succeed here. We can actually do really well, and WWE can get ahead of the war. Now, as I said, I'm a passionate WWE fan, but I'm very excited for AEW. AEW looks fantastic. Like, literally everything I've seen for it thus far has me interested as a lifelong WWE faithful. But I'm saying that WWE can get ahead here. However, the big question is, will this happen? This is much easier said than done, as we've seen through history and as we've seen recently through WWE TV, that some good things could happen one week, then the next week we go back to the same old crap. So then that then also begs the question of, is it going to ultimately take things to reach boiling point, which some would argue already has in regards to ratings and interest in the product, but is it going to really ultimately take boiling point when Vince McMahon's on the edge and AEW are doing incredibly well, and even to the point if maybe a year, 2 years down the line, AEW are actually really competing and getting similar ratings or even more, is it going to take that for Vince McMahon to then ultimately make change? I don't know. And that's what's so exciting about the war that's coming, because we have no idea how things are going to play out. However, ultimately, as I said, I think variety is key. However, let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. Drop a comment down in the section below and let's start a conversation, because I'm really intrigued as to know what you guys think and where you think this may go. As I said, my name's Cameron Kelly Smith. If you enjoy this content, if you like this video, just hit the subscribe and notification button below. I cover movies and wrestling on this channel, wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and also other related discussions and content to wrestling and movies. So if you like what you see here, just drop a comment down below, hit that notification button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll get the conversation rolling. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in. My name's Cameron Kelly Smith. Thank you and have a good day.